This video talks about the installation of a heat pump at this property, which is a small cottage in Dorset in the south of England. As you can see, solar panels on the roof, and we wanted to have a heat pump, which is now installed. And the video runs through the difficulties we had with planning and the amount of delays that we had in getting the thing installed, but just how pleased we are with it now. We naively thought that the installation of a heat pump in this cottage would be straightforward. We'd get a heat pump, we'd get a few radiators changed, we were changing the hot water tank also for a Mixergy tank. However, it didn't work out that way. We contacted Octopus at the beginning of April of 2023 and they gave us an immediate quote. They organised a survey, we had a design and then a visit, and it looked like it was going to be going ahead, but unfortunately the engineering department objected to the noise calculations and said that it would be a couple of decibels over the permitted development level. So we had a few more thoughts about this, but eventually ended up trying to contact the planning department of Purbeck, who were fairly non-committal and suggested that we put in a proper planning application to allow us to go over the noise limit just by a couple of decibels. So we put together all the information for that, and the weeks went by and we were in May, June, July. But in the end it just seemed like we weren't going to get anywhere. The public health department were intransigent and wouldn't go over the 42 decibel limit at all, without a further noise survey, which was going to cost another £1,500, £2,000. So we went back to Octopus and suggested that perhaps by relocating the heat pump we would be able to get under the noise limit, and perhaps by even building a porch to obstruct the noise. And finally we had somebody from the engineering department come round and tell us essentially straight and have a look at the property that really it was never going to happen with Octopus, because their exclusive use of Daikin meant that they couldn't provide a unit which was quite enough. But there were other units on the market and we might want to go and investigate that. And so we immediately contacted, in fact, EcoBubble first, and then they put us in touch with a local company in Shaftesbury called InaFix, who came up with a design which used Vaillant AroTherm Plus. A couple of weeks further on, the designer realised that the Vaillant used R290 refrigerant, which is essentially propane, and that we couldn't have it installed because it was too near a drain and too near a window. So a bit more research was done and we finally came up with the idea of using a Vaillant AroTherm Split, which used a different type of refrigerant, which would be okay, but it produced the same noise and therefore it would be an acceptable design for everybody. And that's what we went ahead with. The installation actually started in February of 2024, coming on for a year after we first started the process. How's life?
All good. We're training, getting the rest of the boiler down.
All right, cool.
We've disconnected the two primaries.
No floods?
No flood.
One dead boiler. You're right. Here's a very empty cupboard. There's a few bits and pieces left. And here's the Mixergy in the cupboard. Outside. And a little bit of a heat pump connector. It's February the 6th and it's the beginning of day 2 of our heat pump install. This is the garden at the moment, no activity. This is the remnants of the hot water cylinder from previous installation. This is where the heat pump is going to go. And in here at the moment is the stuff that the installers are storing, and also there's a Mixergy tank in there, not yet installed properly. So we might get hot water again tonight. Great. Trying to get through a stone wall. Jeez. Wow. That is so noisy.
Yep, I can see it.
Oh yeah.
Just at the back there.
Yeah.
That's a nice one, that's perfect.
That's a good one. The workers are back, or the tools are back. I think the workers are having lunch. And this morning we've got the Mixergy kind of partially plumbed in already. Not quite connected to the main part of the world, but soon. So, progress. So the Mixergy is pretty much in, and there's a tank, buffer tank going to go up there, and bits and pieces. Oh, that's probably the buffer tank. Here's the tidied up pipework. All the old stuff's gone. It's the Mixergy with power on it. I'm plumbed in. And there's the old pump and three-way valve.
That's it, yep.
This is day 4 and it's raining and just about to start working. The van has arrived. The heat pump and all its bits and pieces are due to arrive on the Monday, but unfortunately the wholesaler didn't manage to get them to us until the Thursday, which threw out all the schedules, particularly for the electrician. It's day 5 and we've got loads of stuff in the back garden now, which is going to be installed. All their kit. Oh yeah? Oh yeah. Bodies everywhere.
Everywhere today, yeah.
Stuck in the corner. Dan doing another radiator. Adam doing a radiator. Hooray! I can see it. There's one.
Having lots of fun as well.
Yeah, they all have fun, don't they?
That's the book that came out.
Yeah, it's quite damp, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh yeah, I see it. This is a day when Rob and Adam were installing the pipework between the outdoor unit of the heat pump and the indoor unit, which is in our cubbyhole of a plant room.
We'll take these out so we can put the pipe over.
Yeah, you ran that corner now, so you slide.
Well, it's raining again now. This is the part of the refrigerant system, and it's going to come out through that hole, I guess.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Very nice. We're waiting for an electrician to come tomorrow to wire it all up, but in the meantime they're checking the pressure levels and making sure that there's no leak. There's a nitrogen cylinder here, and checking that the pipework is all sealed and proper. And in here everything is fantastically beautifully lagged. Such a neat job. Fantastic. And we've now got the open energy heat monitoring part put in, and somewhere the temperature pocket next door to it there.
Sorry?
Not such a nice day.
No, it's not. Not as nice as I'd like it to be.
No.
It's better yesterday. I was actually doing a different unit yesterday.
Yeah, with the
And
sunshine.
The sun was.
I
I
know.
actually took my jumper off yesterday.
Do you know we had sunshine here? It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Got a bit cold later on, but it was good. It's peeing down. Look at it. Get away through.
He's thinking about it.
Put the Mixergy on as well. Yeah. Just trying to work out what's going where. Is it? Yeah.
Solution system for the other components ended.
Yeah, that's done. That's not connected, yeah.
Yeah.
Unit scan.
Oh.
Trying to find it all.
Oh,
Heat
look.
pump 1, heat pump module, system.
And versions. It's so quiet. This is so good. You pick up the wind noise rather than the noise of the van. Brilliant. So this is everything up and running now. We've got lights flashing, monitoring going on, this thing's running, and the Mixergy is running, heating up from the heat pump. Brilliant. It's a bit of a wet day again, and this is the heat pump. Still working well. It's been keeping going while we've been away, keeping the house warm, and everything is looking very good indeed. So we still haven't finished our work here yet, and inside here is the Mixergy, and the indoor unit is just there, and everything is working perfectly. As part of our installation, I bought a heat pump monitoring bundle from Open Energy Monitor, and this included a heat meter of this type and a couple of electricity meters and a little monitoring processor which pulls together the data, and then you can connect to and show your own graphs, or it sends the information up to the website. The installer put in the heat meter. It's on one of the flow oil return pipes, and there's a whole load of information about how this should be installed on the web, so I won't go into the detail of that. Needless to say, it was pretty straightforward for everybody. The electrical side and the plumbing side are well described in the installation notes, and setting up the software is fairly straightforward. It's not absolutely easy, but it's fairly straightforward. This is the type of graph that you can see with the monitoring software. The monitoring takes place at the site and gathers together the heat pump information, the heat, the electricity used and temperatures, and sends that up to the Open Energy Monitor site, where it's presented in this form here, with a number of options that you can choose. For example, this is a month view. I can choose a 3-month view, and on this I can see the temperature has been rising. This purple line is the outside temperature. The blue histogram sections are the amount of energy used, the electricity used, and the sort of orangey yellow is the amount of heat produced on that same day. And then these little dots up here are an indication of the COP, the efficiency of the system over time. And you can see here it's ranging from numbers around 4.9 all the way down to a number here which is very low, which is 1, which doesn't seem like very realistic. But mostly we're up in the average of somewhere about 4.3, 4.7, depending on whether we're actually at the property using the heat pump or whether it's just sitting there coming on every now and then if it happens to get chilly. The other rather good thing about this is that you can select a section of time and zoom in on that, and here we have the temperature upping and downing over the days of April, and zoom in even further, and so you can look at then the detail and the detailed COP for each of these days. These are probably a bit more realistic in terms of the amount of time. There's also a day display which again shows the temperatures. This is the room temperature inside the property, this is the outside temperature again, and these are the flow temperatures of the heat pump, flow and return. So this is a section during May the 13th, and we can zoom in on this particular day here and see at this time the hot water was being heated up. I can't actually monitor the heat produced by the hot water because it's a split system. I'm trying to think about a way of doing that. But we can see the amount of electricity used for heating the water, and you can zoom in on that detail and see that during this period 5.3 kilowatt hours were used, and the temperature of the flow and return varied between 37 and all the way down here to 23 as the heat pump turns on and off. And so when the heat pump turns on, it heats up the water to 36, 37, and then the heat pump is idling, but the pump is still sending the hot water around the radiators until it gets down to a low system, then it cuts in again. So you can get a great deal of detail, and a detail on the amount of heat produced by the electricity put in. All in all, the displays are very useful, I find. Well worth the effort of installing the software and the hardware on the site. One of the other things that the heat pump monitoring system will do for you is to send your data up to heatpumpmonitor.org, where it's collated, and these are all the different installations that have got the software and hardware installed, which allows monitoring of the heat pump. We're in this list somewhere. We're fairly near the bottom because we're not there at the moment, and therefore our heat pump isn't running all the time. We're down here, and our overall COP is 3.6. So our system tends to be not so efficient when it's just coming on and off on odd occasions when the temperature of the house drops overnight, usually for a little while. So we're in there. The highest I think we've seen ours is about 4.5. So we're up this list, and so we're very pleased with the efficiency of our installation and know that it works very well. We're getting 4 times the amount of heat out as the energy we're putting in. And again, you can zoom in on the data in the same way that you can look at your own and see how this particular system is working. A way of comparing your system against other systems in terms of efficiency. So that's our heat pump install. And what do we think? How did it go? Planning, we hoped to get it done by Octopus, didn't we? To begin with.
Octopus in the summer.
But because they couldn't come up with a heat pump that's quiet enough, we had an extra lot of delays, what with the planning permission from Purbeck, and then trying to find a heat pump that was quiet enough, and Octopus not being really sure about whether they were happy with its noise level, and in the end deciding that they weren't.
Well, it was 1 decibel too much.
1 decibel too much.
And that caused problems with the planning. They just wouldn't allow it to happen.
Yeah, luckily we got the idea of having a quieter heat pump.
And we were given the name, but the name was Vaillant.
The name was Vaillant. And that made us contact a different company, because Octopus only dealt with Daikin. So we got in touch with InaFix in Shaftesbury, and they came down and had a look, and
they were very positive.
They were very positive.
They could do it.
Yeah. And in fact...
They were right.
And I think we started it sometime
well,
with them in about October, didn't we?
Yes, but we were away from them.
And then we went away for a while in our camper van and organised it such that the installation would be in February when we came back, which was not an ideal time of the year to do a heat pump installation, because they rip out your
current system.
Yes. Fortunately, it wasn't that cold in Swanage. It was a bit wet and therefore a bit warmer than it might have been.
Yeah.
So how long were we without hot water and heating?
Well, it was a 5-day installation.
Yeah, it was planned to be 5 days, wasn't it?
And the first thing they did was rip out the gas central heating.
Yeah.
So there was no heating.
No heating.
At all, except we had a gas fire which we had replaced way back in August, expecting the heat pump to be installed any moment. And so we replaced the gas fire with an electric fire, so we were able to warm our sitting area.
Which was just about comfortable quite quickly, actually.
No, it was no problem.
It was like an electric fire with a fan blower on it.
Exactly. Very, I don't know about the system.
Not very efficient, but very
warm.
very quick at warming up the room.
Yeah.
So that was good.
So we had no hot water.
No, until we got the Mixergy up and running, we didn't have any hot water. So by the Wednesday, we did have hot water again. So it started on the Monday. By the Wednesday, we had hot water again. And then the heat pump was meant to have come on the Monday, but didn't. And it was the wholesaler who didn't deliver it. Yeah. And in fact, they kept on saying it was going to come, and it didn't
Every
come.
day it was going to come.
And it came finally on
Thursday afternoon. Which didn't leave enough time for the electrician to do all the electrics.
No.
And the electrician was unfortunately busy on the Friday.
Yeah.
So it had to go
the window had moved,
the next week. It was all because of the heat pump.
Yeah.
But the plumbers made a brilliant job.
Yeah,
they did it so well.
Yeah, they did do
so
it.
it's a superb job. We are amazed.
Yeah. And finally we got the heat pump up and running, I think, on the following Tuesday. And everything actually worked. You know, all the controls worked, the metering all worked, and we had everything under control and warmth in the house again. Hooray! InaFix did a really good job, didn't they? They were
absolutely.
Nice people.
Very nice people.
Professional. All of them were very nice, actually, weren't they? They were all very pleasant to have around, and
efficient and
and have
and
done
thoughtful.
And have done a very neat job everywhere. That you know, it's just a quality job.
Yeah.
We're very happy with it, and the effect on the house in terms of heating.
Brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. the house itself has solar panels and a power wall. One of the Tesla power walls. It's a big battery. So it's like a mini solar farm anyway. And it does so well.
It does very well, yeah. And once the house is heated up, because it's a stone cottage, it tends to keep its warmth, so it's a pretty efficient setup altogether. And the Vaillant split system seems to be very good from our point of view. Very quiet.
Very, very quiet.
Even though it's a terraced house, the neighbours won't be able to complain about anything because you can hardly hear it. And the only time that it's at all audible is when it's heating up the hot water. Then it's not really noisy. But I mean, when it's heating up the house, it's just purring away, and you can't hear it purring. Yeah. It's so quiet. And what about the Mixergy tank?
A Mixergy tank is manufactured in England, around Oxfordshire, and they are clever tanks.
Smart tanks.
Smart tanks, all right. And it means that somehow they separate the cold water from the hot water. So when you're drawing your bath or your shower, it doesn't pour all the new cold water in and reduce the whole temperature of the tank. Hot water in the hot water place, and you still get hot water for your bath right until the end of the tank.
And what's really great is that you know how much hot water you've got at any time, and you can control it remotely as well, of course. So we can sort of turn on the hot water before we get down to the cottage and make sure that we've got a hot bath awaiting us when we want it.
And the hot house if it's the winter.
And the hot house as well, yeah, because the whole thing has been a great success, and thanks to InaFix for doing it. Ta-da!
Yeah.